For a colonial merchant navigating the 18th century, survival required an absolute, uninterrupted lifeline of global intelligence. This Philadelphia broadside, dated January 12, 1720, served as the primary data feed for the American colonies. Its structure mirrors a modern news broadcast, organizing distinct desks for local governance, foreign military conflict, and real-time economic data. Interpreting the relationship between these columns was a mandatory requirement for the merchant class, as a shift in European stability dictated the local price of every incoming cargo. Physical distance from London made delayed, precise intelligence the most valuable commodity in the colonies. The lead story establishes the baseline for all colonial operations: absolute domestic stability. The governor addresses the local assembly regarding direct orders from Whitehall. The British government demands the repeal of several acts passed by previous administrations. To prevent domestic friction, the governor demands, quote, unanimity and a perfect agreement between the governor and assembly. He frames this cooperation as a loyalty test, explicitly noting that this crisis will distinguish the province's true friends from its pretended friends. Establishing local political compliance was the necessary foundation for the colonial government to pivot its focus toward the larger imperial threats looming across the ocean. In the foreign intelligence column, the reporting shifts to the German port city of Hamburg, a critical node in the European trade network. The dispatch details a Sunday where Lutherans intercepted a Catholic procession carrying the host. The confrontation escalated instantly. The dispatch reports, the mob fell out there in a terrible manner, driving Catholics back to their chapel and breaking inside. The riot left several people dead and resulted in the near-total demolition of the Catholic chapel. For American merchants, these riots were more than religious news. Violence in a major port meant immediate, costly disruptions to the shipping schedules they relied on. While Hamburg dealt with physical street violence, the reports from Paris detailed an explosive surge in abstract financial speculation. This section outlines a massive shift in the French economy, with the king's revenue growing by nearly £100 million and state bills trading 2% above par. To ground these massive national figures, the newspaper highlights English stock jobbers in the French capital. It details a Mr. Gage who gained £300,000 and placed two massive wagers on the East India Company. These reports define the two extremes of European power: bloody survival in Germany and high-stakes financial warfare in France. In London, the broadside examines a matter of domestic security involving the state's control over the printing press. The Grand Jury of London indicted a printer, Mr. Matthews, on a charge of high treason. He was accused of printing a pamphlet titled Vox Populi, Vox Dei, which directly challenged the Chevalier's right to the British crown. The state secured the indictment through the testimony of journeymen and an apprentice who identified the physical treasonous papers being worked on the press. By treating the production of a pamphlet as a capital offense, the Crown signaled that unregulated information posed an unacceptable risk to the royal succession. The International Desk concludes with active military operations, tracking a major British naval offensive against the Spanish coast. British naval forces successfully entered the port of Vigo, landed their troops, and forced the retreat of Spanish defenders. Once taken, the fleet burned massive magazines of naval stores, specifically destroying stockpiles of provisions, timber, and planking. Neutralizing the Spanish fleet at Vigo directly protected the Atlantic trade routes that sustained the colonial merchant class. The broadcast returns from the high-stakes European theater to the immediate operational realities of the colonial docks. These custom house logs serve as the economic pulse of the city, tracking every merchant ship arriving from or clearing out for the Caribbean and London. But the logs also record the physical dangers inherent to this trade, such as the sudden disaster of the sloop Elizabeth. While sailing for Rhode Island, the Elizabeth was caught in the tides of Hellgate and cast upon a rock, leaving the vessel bulged and shattered. Even with naval protection in the Atlantic, colonial wealth remained constantly at the mercy of immediate, local geographic hazards. Every story of European war religious riot, or naval victory ultimately converges in one place: the price current list. This data column shows flour trading in Philadelphia for up to 10 shillings per hundredweight, while tobacco sits at 14 shillings. Regional market variations appear instantly when comparing these lists. The New York data shows flour trading significantly higher, reaching 15 shillings per hundred. The price of Muscovado sugar, trading at up to 45 shillings, highlights the critical economic link between these northern ports and the Caribbean trade. This block of numbers is where the abstract realities of European conflict and financial bubbles finally materialized into tangible wealth or ruin for the colonies. In 1720, colonial prosperity depended on the ability to master this volatile global data more efficiently than the competition.
The Daily Dispatch, history in print, no modern gloss.